All right, what I'm going to talk today about is bringing people up to date on what's been happening in my life in the last year, pretty much, and to do with the so-called cancer. This spring, we started doing some great trips together as a family, and it was a really fun summer. We did some biking, hiking, climbing, and I was not on chemo. We were caretaking at a cabin on the weekends in the remote part of Pemberton, and I was getting my blood tested every month or so, and my tumor markers were rising quite quickly. They were doubling basically every month until August, when I decided to go back on chemo. I still felt completely fine, but I decided that I should go back on chemo. And when I started it, I did not do any naturopathic treatments. And I did that for about 2 months and had another scan, and the numbers kept climbing, and the scan was showing the tumors were growing. So then I added back in the hyperthermia and vitamin C IV, and that slowed the tumor growth, slowed the tumor marker growth, but it didn't bring it down. It just made it go, it flattened it out. So that continued into the winter, and I started heli skiing, which was great. I still felt more or less 100%. So I started working heli skiing. That was great. Everything's going fine. And then I had another scan at the end of January, and that showed more tumor growth in my liver, lymph nodes, lungs, and it also showed 3 new lesions in my spine, so in my lumbar, and one of them, one of the vertebrae is broken and deteriorating, and it's shrunken by about 15%. I had been having a little bit of trouble with my back, going back as far as September, but I just assumed it was because I was lifting heavy things. So maybe it's to do with this. I'm not sure. So that was bad news. The tumor markers were still going up, and that was the end of my 6 months chemo. So I started doing some different research on fasting. I had been intermittent fasting 12 to 14 hours a day since 2019, but I thought I could increase that or do something different with fasting. So I've talked to all my doctors, and I've decided to do a 5-day fast, water only, which I started 24 hours ago. So I'm hungry, but I feel fine otherwise. I happen to have this time already booked off work to do chemo, which I canceled. Oh, that's the other part. After the scan, I talked to the oncologist, and they said I should do radiation on my back, and that they were going to change my chemo regime to include oxaliplatin. I Googled that, and the first thing that came up was Wikipedia, and it more or less said oxaliplatin doesn't work. So I didn't want to do anything new anyway, so I canceled the radiation, and I have canceled the next 2 chemo appointments at least, so the next month, and I'm going to do this fasting. So water only, and I'm going to do that for 5 days, and then I'll eat normally for 1 or 2 weeks, and then I'll do a longer fast regardless of what the results are. But I plan on doing that for the next month or so, longer bouts of fasting, and that should eliminate the cancer. I will put some links down below. That's what always people say on these things. But I'm going to put some links somewhere on some really good videos and articles on fasting, because it turns out it's good for everything. It's good for your relationship with God, spirituality. Fasting's been a thing forever in religions, all of them. Fasting also does great things for immunity, does great things for natural killer cells, for cleaning up bad bits of the cells, called autophagy, and it also helps you focus on what your goals are. It also saves a lot of time. If you don't have to eat, think of all the extra time you have, and you're going to save money, at least in the short term. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to carry on doing some light exercise. I'm going to go skiing and just do my normal daily chores and ignore the fact that I am not eating. Apparently you get over the hunger in a couple of days, and then you should just be as normal, even having more energy, more mental clarity, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks, and have a great day. Peace, love, and hope.